Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to Farming Simulator 23. The first thing I did was max out the sheep barn. In the last episode, we bought 50 sheep, since the capacity is 65. Looking at the animal stats, the sheep are fed, but the chickens were completely out of food. So I'm getting them some grain now. As you can see, I have $73,000, and I'm spending that to get two new trailers. One is a 37.5L for selling crops, and the other is a smaller trailer to feed the chickens. After finishing that, I headed back to the farm, fed the chickens, and took my old trailer to the shop to sell it. I always sell equipment at the shop instead of online, because you get $4,000 to $5,000 extra. Next, I sold my straw and planted new soybean seeds. While I was picking up more straw to sell, I checked the sheep barn, and my, look at that. Our very first batch of wool is ready. There was no way I was selling this wool at a cheap price, so I decided to buy a spinnery to make fabric. I checked the price and it was $60,000, but I only have $47,830. I needed to grind for more cash. I checked the market prices and saw that fabric goes for $11,000 per pallet. Then I checked clothes, which jumped to $30,000 or $31,000 in April. That meant I needed a tailor shop too, so the plan was set. $60,000 for the spinnery and $100,000 for the tailor shop. For now, I just had to collect the wool. I've now bought the spinnery. Sorry, I accidentally deleted that footage while editing. Along with the spinnery, I bought this absolute trash, third-class pallet handler. I thought it could lift multiple pallets at once, but nope, just one. Anyway, I had to distribute the wool to the spinnery and take the fabric back to the farm to store it until the tailor shop was ready. So that's what I did. Stored the fabric, skipped a month, stored the egg pallets, and kept the wool moving to the spinnery. I also had a lot of bread ready to sell. I could have made more if I waited until December, but I needed the tailor shop immediately. The bread was selling for $5,356 per pallet. First 12 pallets, I got about $64,300, which brought my total to $90,900. Second 12 pallets, another $64,300. Final 5 pallets, sold those to reach a grand total of $178,384. It was finally time to buy the tailor shop. Using that annoying pallet handler, I gathered all the fabric from the farm and the spinnery and bought the shop. I've switched the spinnery from storing to distributing, so it sends the fabric to the tailor shop automatically from now on. Now I'm back to collecting soybeans and preparing lunch for the sheep. Alright guys, my next plan was to get a baler and a bale wrapping machine, and of course a bale pallet handler. I started by mowing the grass and using the windrower to gather it all in one place. On the rest of the field I ran the seeder. We're planting soybeans here, and after that we'll keep doing grass cycles to keep the sheep barn stocked. I brought out the forage wagon, filled it up with grass, and parked it right in front of the sheep barn feeder. Now, whenever they run out of food, I just need to get the wagon in range, and they'll be served automatically. While waiting for the baler, I checked if the clothes pallets were ready to sell. I had 2 pallets of clothes ready. I stored them through March, but by April, the supermarket near the farm was offering great prices, so I made the move. I started with $65,000, and after selling those 2 pallets, I hit $127,000. It still wasn't quite enough for everything I needed. So, I decided to sell the wagon I previously bought for straw. Since I'm moving to a baler now, I won't be selling loose straw anymore. Selling bales makes much more profit than selling rows. I've officially bought the baler and the bale wrapper. There's a bale picker I really want that costs $90,000, but I've completely run out of cash. For now, I've taken the new gear back to the farm, and I'll find a way to make it work. I'll be looking to buy that picker as soon as possible. After reaching the farm, I started mowing the grass, gathered it with the windrower, and began making bales with my brand new baler. Once the bales were made and wrapped, it was time for the bale picker. To afford it, I sold my 37.5L trailer full of soybeans. As soon as I sold that, I reset my tractor and bought the picker. To be honest, my silage was just lying there neglected. I didn't realize that the pallet handler I used for bread and clothes could also pick up bales. I thought this picker was essential. Well, if you want to sell bales, it actually is necessary, because a normal pallet handler is only good for storing, not selling. Now, I also bought a large trailer, but I didn't realize that anything bigger than 37.5 L can't be pulled by a tractor. You need a truck for those. After that mistake, I now had to arrange another $110,000 for a truck. My only hope was the silage bales. I didn't have many, but selling them left me just $5,000 short. I had soybeans left, but I didn't want to sell the whole stock, so I sold just enough to cover that remaining $5,000. Finally, I bought the truck and attached the trailer. Heading back to the farm, I was amazed. This truck is the fastest vehicle I've owned so far, hitting speeds of 80 plus. I got back to baling, but I realized this baler requires specific horsepower that my current tractors just don't have. This meant I needed a high-performance tractor specifically for this job. To fund it, I went back to work making a massive amount of silage bales from the grass in my largest field. I loaded up the first 14 bales, which is the maximum capacity for one trip. Between the cash I already had and the $48,000 from those 14 bales, I reached $110,000. After selling a few more for $27,000, my total hit $137,000. To get the large tractor I needed, I had to sacrifice my two Massey tractors. I sold the old one for $53,000 and the newer one for $73,000. With all that combined, I finally had enough to buy this $245,000 beast with 310 horsepower and a top speed of 50 kilometers per hour. I finally bought a large tractor. It's awesome. Check out this interior. Now, I can finally run the baler without any struggle. My old tractors couldn't even pull it. My goal for episode 7 is to grind a massive amount of soybean. But of course, I needed cash for herbicide, fertilizer, and labor wages. Instead of waiting for December, I started selling my large stock of bread in January. First, I sold 12 pallets at $21,600 for every 4 pallets. I got $64,800. That brought my total to $77,676. After selling the remaining 10 bread pallets, my total hit $131,679. I've also planted wheat in the small fields for the grain mill. Now that I have the baler, I'm making straw bales and selling them. You get great prices for straw and silage in January. I loaded the bales onto the pallet handler and headed out to sell. This is the only tractor I've actually enjoyed driving up these hills. I plan to buy an even better one in the future. After selling those, I had enough to really start the soybean grind.
6 months later.
Out of $145,000, I've saved $90,000 and already ground a good amount of soybean. But 4 fields aren't enough. I need one more. Since it's April, clothes are at a high price. I sold the pallets I had stored, which brought me to $212,000. But that's still not enough. I grabbed 3 more clothes pallets from the tailor shop because I need $471,000 for a large new field. After those pallets, I had $304,000, still short. The field I want is field number 10, which costs $471,650 and is close to the farm. To get the rest of the money, I readied and loaded the silage. I had $304,000, and after selling 14 silage bales, I reached $349,000.
Another one.
I brought the rest of the silage and accidentally picked up a straw bale, which I don't think sells at the biogas plant. After selling all the silage, I had $378,000. After accounting for worker wages, fertilizer, and medicine, I was left with $373,000. For the final amount, I had to sacrifice some of the soybean I was saving for episode 7. It was worth it because more fields mean more production. After selling that, I finally reached $502,428. Now it's time to buy field number 10. The new field had sorghum, so I harvested that and sent it to the grain mill to keep the bread production going. For now, I'm planting wheat in this field to meet the mill's needs. I'll be selling a huge amount of soybean in the next episode, so make sure to subscribe. So I'm sticking to the routine. I'm selling silage bales to cover expenses like worker wages, which keep eating into my funds. From time to time, I check the tailor shop. Whenever closed pallets are ready, I move them to storage. I have 4 pallets ready, but man, it's a struggle to pick them up. The space is so tight, I have to make 2 trips. Regardless, I managed to get them safely back to the farm. I'm also keeping up with the grain mill by distributing the wheat I planted. As for the straw, I make bales and pick them up immediately so they don't get in the way of the cedar and disturb the workers. I've baled and cleared almost everything, except for a little bit left behind, but I'm just going to leave that. Now, January prices for straw aren't as good as December, and I always seem to mess up and miss that December window. Still, I got about $17,000 for the first load, another $16,985 for the second, and $17,000 for the third. Then I sold some silage along with the straw, which paid much better. That brought in $29,000, putting me at $98,000 total. A bit more silage added $15,600, bringing the total to roughly $114,500. With the field work done, I head to the sheep barn to collect wool and feed the sheep. I deliver the wool to the spinnery to keep fabric production moving, but honestly, I think I'll need to start a cotton plantation soon. Producing clothes from wool is taking way too long. The spinnery is full of wool, but the fabric production is just too slow. Inshallah, we'll handle the cotton in episode 8. I also stopped by the tailor shop to pick up one more pallet for storage and grab some bread while I'm at it. Back to the soybean grind. In the next episode, selling with my current trailer would take 5 or 6 trips. It's better to just sell it and buy the 75.5L trailer, the biggest one in the game. I have the cash, so I'm selling the old one and buying the 14.4-ton trailer. Let's go. I attach the truck and get it back to the farm. For the next few hours, it's the same cycle: planting, harvesting, filling the trailer, and storing. But doing all this left me with no money for labor wages. I had some eggs to sell, but that barely covered the debt and only gave me $1,500 extra. That's not enough. I need more silage bales. Since I was near the bakery to sell eggs, I picked up some bread to store and got back to the grind. I'm not just focused on soybeans, I'm also meeting the grain mill's needs by planting wheat, which also gives me straw. I'm harvesting soybeans and planting wheat again, but my money is running out once more. Those $1,500 were nothing compared to my expenses. Since I don't want to sell bread before December or clothes before April, I have to rely on silage bales to keep things running. I get the baler to work on 5 or 6 bales, hoping for at least $16,000 or $17,000. I put the workers back $16,300 plus. That'll keep us going. Back to business. I won't keep repeating that I'm collecting soybeans. You already know the deal. I'm planting grass on top of grass now to get that 100% yield bonus. My fertilizer spreader doesn't work on grass for some reason, so I have to run the seeder over it twice. Honestly, it doesn't seem to help much. Maybe 1 extra bale on a small field. I check the sheep barn again. Deliver the wool and pick up another pallet of clothes. I'm down to my last $5,000, so I immediately start prepping more silage bales to sell. This new tractor is great. It has good horsepower, and the color even matches the baler. I don't know if they're the same brand, but they get the job done fast. Since it's December, the prices are good. The biogas plant is offering $15 more, and it's close by, so I'm heading there. I sell 5 bales and... wow, even with 100% fertilizer, it didn't seem to make a huge difference. Whatever. Selling those brought in $17,400, putting me at $20,000 total. Before I end this episode, I want to buy field number 5, which costs $253,720. Long live the clothes production. It's now May, and the farmer's market nearby is offering great prices. I pull the clothes from storage and load them up. I have 12 pallets in total. You guys should pause the video and comment on how much you think these 12 pallets will fetch. I know, I'm talking nonsense. Who's going to comment if no one is watching? Maybe a ghost. Anyway, let's sell them. Here we go. $375,000 plus. That brings my total to $401,758. Okay, time to buy the field. But you know what? I think I'll wait and buy it in episode 7. This episode is already getting long, and I wonder who's even still watching. See you guys in episode 7, inshallah. Tata, bata.